welcome.
Yes, we are on.
Okay, so welcome everybody to this presentation today from the University of Derby, which is considering potential postgraduate study options that may support you in what is clearly turbulent and challenging times that we're currently living in and experiencing. I'd like to start by saying hello to everybody. My name is David Orton, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar about studying the MBA and all of our postgraduate provision at the University of Derby here in England. I am the program leader for the MBA Global course that we run for full-time students, and also a senior lecturer in international strategy and management. We'll be starting this webinar with an introduction to the University of Derby. I'll then give you an overview of what it's like to study our MBA and all of our postgraduate programs that we have. This presentational webinar should last around about 20 to 25 minutes. We can then have the opportunity to engage in any discussions, questions, or queries that you may have. And if I can ask that you could perhaps keep your questions until the end of the presentation. The University of Derby is ideally located in the heart of England and has excellent transport links to most major UK cities. Also known as the UK's capital for innovation, Derby is a great place to study, where you will be perfectly positioned to reach your academic and professional potential. We have made great progress over the last few years, and we are committed to delivering excellence and opportunities for all of our students. Here are just some of our many highlights. Over £200 million invested in our facilities over the past 10 years. We are rated the #1 international student centre in the United Kingdom. Derby is a top 10 UK location to start a business. And recently, we were shortlisted for the Times Higher Education University of the Year in 2019. And we have been rated in the top 20 in the country for academic experience. Here at the University of Derby, we have world-class and world-leading facilities. Examples include our Bloomberg Financial Markets Lab, which highlights our commitment to delivering the very best experience for all of our students. Study with us and you will gain vital experience in using the Bloomberg database, an outstanding global business resource providing financial and company information, economic data, and market analysis. Harnessed by companies worldwide, it is used extensively in our teaching and for student research and assessments. I'm now going to talk you through the various MBA programs that we offer. Following on from that, I'll then talk about the range of other postgraduate business courses that may be available to you. At the University of Derby, you can expect a thoroughly modern and global MBA, which includes the latest thinking and a focus on applied learning. You can study our MBA Global program or more specialized pathways in global finance and global hospitality management to match your professional experience and ambitions. We'll prepare you for the commercial world of today and the future, what is sometimes termed the fourth industrial revolution. And that means inspiring you to think and act from an international perspective. You can study the MBA Global on campus or online. Firstly, I'm going to focus upon the MBA Global course. Each of the programs are studied over 3 terms, each term being 4 months in length. There are 6 taught modules alongside 2 support modules. These 2 having a special focus upon developing and enhancing personal, leadership, communication, and research skills, delivered over the first 2 terms, culminating in either a dissertation or a corporate placement project in the final term. Recent examples of corporate placement projects include the mapping of business continuity provision of IT support against a pandemic for a blue chip multinational organization. Another corporate placement project was to investigate a social media strategy and implementation project for a series of restaurants across the region. And the third corporate placement project was a feasibility study to moving a manufacturing tooling department to one that is fully automated using artificial intelligence. The MBA Global will prove especially attractive to those who are seeking to study a broad range of business disciplines that will have appeal and relevance across all industry contexts, from both private and public sectors. There is a focus upon strategic evaluation and leadership throughout the program, with in-depth analysis of finance, operations, supply chain and logistics, and risk and resilience management, all central and essential contributors to the successful management of organizations. The MBA Global Finance program will appeal especially to those who wish to study the dynamics of international finance for both investment and strategic development. This program follows the same broad structure as with the MBA Global, but provides a special focus upon finance in the 2nd terms and 3rd terms. In the 2nd term, you will be able to study both international finance and mergers and acquisitions. For international finance, you will cover the way the global financial system functions and explore international sources of finance and suitable investment opportunities. This module enables you to form a critical awareness of the risks associated with international trade and to examine how fluctuations in exchange rates affect a business. In mergers and acquisitions, you will study a module which integrates a wide range of business functions, concepts, and theories. As part of an organization's strategic plan, mergers and acquisitions have a long-term focus. You will be exposed to the rationale and strategies that support mergers and acquisitions in the pursuit of critical resources and skills to support expansion, reduce competition, and consolidation within industries. You will learn the techniques of valuing acquisitions and the necessary skills in sustaining long-term value-creating mergers. The dissertation and/or corporate placement project would typically reflect and focus upon the finance and investment aspects to organizational management. The MBA Global Hospitality Management Program will especially appeal to those who have an interest in either entering or furthering their careers within the hospitality management sector. As with the MBA Global Finance course, this program follows the same broad structure as with the MBA Global, but provides a special focus upon hospitality management in the second term and third terms. In the second term, you will be able to study both service improvement and business performance, as well as the global hospitality experience. The service improvement and business performance in hospitality module will build upon and challenge your knowledge of hospitality operations management, including the design of products, services, networks, and facilities. It bridges the gap between theory and current practice, and you will identify how a hospitality business should organize and structure its processes to improve productivity and make innovation happen. This module will help equip you with the skills to evaluate operational plans and the impact they have on business performance. The Global Hospitality Experience module will enable you to explore current industry trends and their impact upon the customer experience. This module looks at the challenges involved in satisfying complex customer demands and providing service improvements at a time when managers are under increasing pressure to ensure business operational efficiency. Studying this module will enhance your understanding of service quality and customer satisfaction, and how they can both be measured in the customer-focused, people-oriented global hospitality industry. The dissertation and/or corporate placement project would typically reflect and focus upon the issues of innovation and service improvement at a strategic level within the hospitality management sector. I'm now going to give you an overview and introduction to the full range of additional postgraduate business programs that we offer. Our programs cover the full spectrum of business disciplines, from international business, which can be studied alone or in conjunction with other disciplines, such as finance, marketing, and HRM. You'll be further exposed to the state-of-the-art Bloomberg facilities, where you may gain a formal certificate, the Bloomberg Market Concepts Certificate. Derby is a national and global hub of manufacturing, logistics, and transportation excellence. By taking the MSc Supply Chain Improvement program, you will be exposed to the real-world practical application of logistics and transportation, and take part in networking events, including our Logistics and Supply Chain Week, where you will get to rub shoulders with some of the international titans within the sector. Study our MSc Accounting and Finance, where at the University of Derby, we are accredited as a centre. We are accredited as a centre of delivery by both CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, and ACCA, to give you the confidence that you are being taught by the very best tutors in their fields. Upon completion of the course, you may gain exemptions from both the ICAEW and CPA, or Certified Practicing Accountants of Australia's professional qualifications. Our MSc Marketing Management will prepare you for success at the very highest level of the profession. You will be taught by researchers at the vanguard of disciplines such as market sensing and use of social media in marketing. And you will have opportunities to undertake internships to put into practice what you are exposed to in the classroom. Here at the University of Derby, we pride ourselves on our small but truly international classroom environment, where discussions will be lively, informative, and often surprising. You will learn best practice with and from a diverse community of equally driven and motivated fellow students, who include current and aspiring business, finance, and hospitality leaders. Our courses attract students from countries across mainland Europe and from across the globe, including the United States of America, India, China, Pakistan, Nigeria, and the Arab states of the Gulf. Of course, university is not just about studying. Our careers and employment service will provide you with support from day one of your course to ensure you leave Derby as a work-ready graduate. Throughout your studies, you'll also benefit from our Personal Development Planning, or PDP, scheme, which enables you to reflect on your learning and develop your career ambitions. Our emphasis on work-based learning also equips you to apply your knowledge in ways which make an immediate impact, whether you are embarking on a new role or advancing your professional practice within your own organization. Offering substantial business and management experience, our lecturers combine academic rigor with real-world practice. We introduce you to industry experts through guest lectures, and you can raise your professional profile through networking at our conferences and business events. We have a range of discounts and scholarships available. For the latest fee information, please see the course pages on our website. Today, however, I'm going to talk through a few of the options available to you. As applicants from outside the EU, you will automatically be assessed for a number of bursaries, scholarships, and discounts without the need for any additional applications from you. At a minimum, all international students will qualify for a £2,000 discount on postgraduate taught course fees. And this £2,000 discount can be combined with any other scholarships that you may be eligible for. Terms and conditions do apply to our discounts and offers, so please do check on our website for full details and eligibility. All applications for postgraduate study must be submitted online. All students must first of all register with the My Derby online application portal at registration.derby.ac.uk. As international students are encouraged to apply through an agent, and with the assistance and support of our in-country advisors, your agent will have an 11-digit ID number, which you will need to add to your application. You can find the name of your local agent on our website. Once your application has been submitted, you should receive confirmation that it has been received via the email account that you registered with. Our admissions team will respond to you within approximately 1 week to let you know if you've been successful. If you need any help with your application, you can contact our admissions team, who will be only too happy to help you. So it just remains for me to thank you everyone for joining me in this webinar. I hope you found this webinar useful and it's helped to answer some of the questions that you may have about studying either the MBA or all of our postgraduate provision. In terms of next steps, please feel free to chat with me or drop me an email if you have an special interest in the MBA, or contact any of my academic colleagues if you might wish for further information on some of our other courses. Simply go to the course page on our website where you can see their contact details. If you know what you want to study, then simply submit your application, which will be reviewed by our admissions teams. For more information or to ask questions about postgraduate study, make connections with fellow applicants, and keep up to date with the latest news, make sure you've joined our postgraduate inquiry group on Facebook and are following us on Twitter and on Instagram. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll be delighted to take any questions that you may have. Thank you again.
Thank you, David. This is really, this is very brief and interesting. So we had our first question from Kavita, who wants to know a little bit more about how will classes be managed during the pandemic. And also Kavita had another question that is not business related, so she will reach out to you directly via email.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for that, and that's obviously a very important question, and one that's probably on the lips of many applicant students of what is happening now with the global pandemic. And I think the response to that, which I can give, is that all universities are currently considering what will be the appropriate best means of delivering their courses in the autumn term. And here at the University of Derby, we're considering a range of different scenarios. And those scenarios include full face-to-face on-class delivery, so as if things went back to normal, pre-COVID, if you will. We are also very, very experienced and skilled in delivering classes remotely. So that's through using online platforms and systems. And we're also exploring scenarios where it may be a hybrid model, where it may be a combination of students coming onto campus for some of their classes and also studying some of their classes online as well. Now, no firm decision has been made yet as to which of those modes is going to be undertaken in September. And that's, of course, because I'm sure that people would appreciate that this is a fast moving and dynamic situation. What I can assure any applicant of is the following: that the University of Derby will be acting in complete accordance with the prevailing government guidance at that time, and that the safety and the health of both students and staff is of paramount importance and will be the determining consideration as to how the programs will be delivered in the autumn term. What I can confirm for any applicants is that the courses will be commencing from Monday, the 28th of September. It's probably also worth mentioning that not only do we have autumn start dates, but our programs also contain January start dates. So if an applicant was concerned about the uncertainty that currently prevails because of this pandemic, then the January option hopefully will enable us to have a greater clarity and certainty as to how the programs will be delivered. And that if a student applied for the January start as opposed to a September start, there is the additional optionality of extending the postgraduate program from 12 months to an 18-month program as well. So that's probably the best that I can give at this moment in time. So I'm trying to give as much fulsome information as I possibly can, but with the caveat, of course, that things are fast moving and changing.
Thank you, David. So the next question that we have is from Jakob, which is regarding culinary arts. So I would recommend Jakob to get in touch with you directly via email address d.orton@derby.ac.uk. Moving on to the next question from Raj. Raj would like to have some more insights on internship opportunities. I suppose this is after MBA.
Oh, okay. So, well, I think there's two facets to internships which can be explored. There is the opportunity for undertaking internships as part of the MBA program, whether that's the MBA Global, the MBA Global Finance, or the MBA Global Hospitality Management. And in essence, that would take the form of sort of 4 months of working within an organization on a live project brief. Now, that may be paid, it may not be paid. It depends very much on the nature of the project and the client organization. But the culmination of that 4 months work experience of working on a project would be to submit a project report. And that would be for those students who didn't want to do a traditional dissertation or thesis. So we offer that optionality. And I think within the presentation, I gave examples of 3 recent internships that we offered. Now, in order to be able to gain those internships, it's not a guaranteed offering. What will happen is that we will work closely with large blue chip multinational organizations quite frequently to identify a project for which they would like a student working on that brief. But of course, it then becomes a competitive process. Lots of students from the course may be interested in applying for that project, and there will then be a selection process through which those students will go. So it's a competitive process. It's a bit like trying to secure your first postgraduate position in the workplace, but you're doing it as part of your MBA. So that's one route to internships. The second aspect to it, to which you alluded to, is the opportunity for gaining work experience post the completion of the academic course, so after you've graduated. And applicants may be aware that there was a significant drive by the government to reverse its previous position on offering opportunities for post-study work. And one of the options that is being strongly considered, but hasn't, I have to stress this, hasn't been implemented as yet, is the offer of a 2-year post-study work visa. Okay. Now the terms of that are still being debated and still being considered, but the original timeline and the suggestion was that this would be available to students who were graduating from their academic program in 2021. So any student that is applying for this coming year on the basis that the post-study work visa is implemented would be eligible for that once they have graduated. I hope that sort of answers as fully as I'm able to.
Yeah, thank you, David. So another question is a bit specific. So what are the fees for MSc in accounts and accommodation? So I suppose accommodation is more broad. Yeah, if you can tell us a little bit more about fees.
Yes, okay. So issues on accommodation and subsistence fees, there's lots of information that can be found on the website. Different accommodations will charge different amounts of fees, so I would refer the applicant directly to the website for that information. In terms of course fees, then for all of our postgraduate business suite, then the course fees from this coming September are £14,700. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, that all international students will be eligible for a £2,000 discount from that. So that renders the fee down to £12,700. And of course, there may be additional bursaries for which that applicant may be eligible, but we'll consider that separately at the University of Derby. If an applicant was, and I think in this particular case, the applicant was interested in the MSc Accounting and Finance, there is a different fee for the MBA, however. The MBA does attract a premium fee, which in this case is £15,450. But again, the £2,000 automatic international discount and eligibility for any other additional bursaries also equally applies. So the absolute maximum fee for the MBA Global would then become £13,450.
Thank you, David. So the next question is, what undergraduate requirement is necessary for a student to be eligible for MBA?
Okay, so we have, if we're talking specifically about the MBA, then the entry requirements can be achieved through two routes. The first is on the basis of the applicant's academic performance in their bachelor's program or their first degree. And we would be requiring a minimum of an Indian equivalent to a 2-1 UK degree. Now, again, on the website, and of course, our in-country agents will be able to advise as to what that might relate to in terms of local Indian scores on a bachelor's degree. Okay, so they'll be able to confirm on the equivalent. The alternative route is that the history of the MBA was that it was originally designed for people who were already in business but didn't necessarily have an academic background. So keeping faithful and consistent with the history and the origins of the MBA, we also permit entry for those applicants who may not meet our academic entry requirements, but have built up a significant track record of either managerial and supervisory expertise in the workplace, or may possibly have been entrepreneurial and set up their own businesses and have a track record of commercial success. So two routes: a minimum of the Indian equivalent to a 2-1 degree in a bachelor's will make you eligible, or if you don't have that, a sustained track record of managerial, supervisory, or commercial success in business will also be considered. And then it's really at my discretion. So I will then look at each application individually, judge it on its own merits, and then make a decision accordingly. I should just finally add that in order to come onto the MBA, if you go down the route of the academic entry requirement, then your bachelor's degree does not have to be in a related area. So don't think that you must have had to have studied business or economics in order to be eligible for the MBA. So I will look at applications from students regardless of the subject of their bachelor's course. Again, I hope that provides some clarity.
Thank you, David. So the next question is, if we are taking full course through online from my country, I suppose India, do we get employment or work permit in the UK? So I suppose this is like if the courses starts online?
Yes. Yeah, so is it possible just to repeat the question again, just so that I'm clear that I understood it correctly?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understood correctly. So if we're taking full course through online from my country, so I suppose this must be India, do we get employment or work permit in the UK?
Okay, so that's an excellent question to ask. And it's one that I think would be best answered if the applicant either directly made the inquiry through the website or through our in-country agents, because we do have visa experts within the university that are keeping up to date with the current government's position on visas. Obviously, things are in a bit of a state of a flux because of COVID-19, but my colleagues who work in student visas, and that's their area of specialism, would be best positioned to respond to that applicant question. I certainly wouldn't want to try and speculate or come up with, my interpretation of what government policy might be. So if we can make the recommendation that the applicant would direct that query directly through the University of Derby website, it will get picked up by my colleagues and they will be able to give the state of play as is currently the case.
Thank you, David. Sounds fair enough. So the next question from Raful, can I do part-time work in accounting firm in the UK while pursuing my master's degree?
Yes, you can do. So there is a quota in terms of the number of hours that you are able to work during term time. I think from recollection, it is 20 hours a week that you may work outside of your full-time studying during term time. In vacation time, then you are entitled to work full-time. So yes, you can combine working and studying whilst you're in the UK.
Thank you, David. So there is another question from John. What is the usual lecture hours in a week, or how many days in a week? Can you give us an idea of normal timetable for MSc in audio engineering? How about the career help or guidance from the department during the end of the course? So I would suggest for audio engineering, this can be addressed the best via email. But yes, for the other questions, you can maybe give a little update.
Yeah. So in terms of broad number of hours, then at postgraduate level, you would typically study 3 to 4 modules per term, and for each of those modules that you would be expected to have about a 3-hour lecture or seminar per week. So that's going to give you about 12 hours of class contact time per week. Each of the modules is delivered over 12 weeks, so 12-week blocks. And that, I think, will kind of give you the overview. In terms of when they would be delivered during the week, they will fall on various days. We try and assure, as far as is practically possible, that Wednesday afternoons are typically left free of classes. And so that's primarily so that students can engage in sports activities, for example, for the university. In addition to that, it's usually the case that our students would have at least one of the 5 days during the week where there will be no classes. So that obviously gives an opportunity for a student that may wish to be working part-time. But I cannot state with absolute certainty for each course on a year-by-year basis exactly what time slots their classes will be running. But it's between sort of 9 till 5, about 12 hours of contact time per week. Typically, little or no classes on a Wednesday afternoon, and additionally, one of the other days would normally be free from classes as well. And Simon, I think there was a further question that you had as well, which was in terms of support in trying to find work. So we have an employment hub within the university, which students can register with at any moment in time, and they will put students in contact with employers that are seeking to take on students. And the work can vary. It can vary in terms of duration. It might just be for a couple of weeks. It might be vacation time. It might be year long. It really does just depend upon what the requirements are of the client organization. But we have an employment hub that basically brings together students who are wishing to get work and employers who are looking for students. And then in addition to that, we have a careers support team that will provide guidance in terms of CV writing, practicing for interviews, undertaking things like psychometric testing, which is becoming increasingly more popular, especially amongst some of the larger multinational organizations when they are recruiting for graduates. So we do everything we can to obviously try and support the student in being able to secure employment post-graduation.
Thank you, David. So the next question, you already covered a little bit. What are the scholarship opportunities? So this was already a bit covered, so I wouldn't go into detail. There is another question from Kavita. Is IELTS mandatory?
Okay. So historically, we did desire IELTS. Things are changing a little bit because of this, because of the global pandemic, and therefore the ability of applicants to be able to attend IELTS centres. So for the latest advice, a bit like with the visas, if I could refer the applicants either to our in-country agents or alternatively directly through the website. And we have an international admissions team. So if I can give the email address perhaps over this webinar, and again, they will be able to give the current state of play with regard to English language requirements. And that email address for our international admissions is iadmissions@derby.ac.uk.
So thank you, David. So another question about January intake. So
yes,
I will apply for January 2021 intake. When academic year will start? So basically, what is the start of January 21 intake, basically?
Oh, okay. Right. Again, another excellent question. I think those details will be on the website. Unfortunately, the exact date escapes my recollection at this precise moment, but what I can say is that the start date is typically the final week in January, commencing on the Monday. So normally the last Monday in January. The course duration, if the student was on a 12-month program, would then take them through to the end of January 2022, or if the student selected the 18-month program, then that would then take them through to July of 2022. But the start date, whether 12 or 18-month program, would be the same. And as I say, from memory, I think it's typically the last week in January. But again, if the applicant wanted to drop me an email, then outside of this webinar, I will be able to confirm that.
Thank you, David. The last question that we have for today is, I believe it can also be addressed via email. I have 13 years of experience in IT industry, and I want to pursue PG course in related field. Let me know your suggestions. That's the last question for today.
Okay, so they're coming from a commercial background in IT.
Yes.
Okay, so of the business suite, probably the MBA might be more logical than some of the other postgraduate programs if they wanted to study a business program, simply because for our programs that are not MBA, then we tend to require the bachelor's degree to be in a related subject. If you may recall, I mentioned earlier in the webinar that for the MBA, it doesn't matter what the subject was for the first degree. That doesn't mean that if a student was interested in, let's say, doing international business or accounting and finance, that we wouldn't also consider his or her experience. But I'm just saying that generally, the MBA is perhaps slightly more broader in terms of the applicant base that it would look at. But what might be an idea again, because really the right course is the course that's right for the applicant. I know that sounds like a very kind of twee way of sort of answering the question, but it's very true. Well, one course is not better than another. It's different courses suit different people. So if the applicant wanted to drop me an email and give a bit more information, and also in terms of where they saw their future career aspirations, then I'd be ever so happy to kind of enter into a discussion with that applicant and provide some suggestions and thoughts accordingly. So an invitation to the applicant to email me.
Thank you, David. So we do have one more question.
Of course.
If I choose 18-month program, then what's the duration of my post-study work visa?
Okay, so that would remain as things stand. Okay, that would remain unaltered. It doesn't matter how long the program of study is, whether it's 12 or 18 months. If the government implements the proposal for the two-year post-study work visa, then that would apply to all graduates. It wouldn't discriminate. But again, it would be best if those kind of detailed queries were perhaps directed through the university's website, so where it could go to our visa compliance team, because they're the experts in this, and I wouldn't want to potentially unintentionally mislead anyone. But that's my understanding of things.
Thank you, David. I'm just checking YouTube for any questions. Okay. And we have another question from Ayesha. I finished PG. I want to join for a PhD. So give me the process, please. So I think is it the best if Ayesha gets in touch directly?
Yes. So the PhD applications are very different. But if the applicant goes on to the website, and you can look up research degrees. So that's what they need to be looking at, research degrees. Then it then gives an overview as to the process. But in essence, what the applicant would need to do is to put forward a proposal, what it is that they would like to research. And then it would be considered by a professorial research team as to whether that is something that we would wish to support. So it's a very different process. It's very individualized and does require the applicant to put forward a proposal. But if they go onto the website, go to the section on research degrees, then it gives the full details on the application process there.
Thank you, David. So we have one last question, which I believe you already gave some information about. And this is from Anil asking, is September intake as per schedule or any different? So I believe you already mentioned this.
Yeah. So the start date is that we're committed to the start date of the 28th of September. And we're currently considering a range of different delivery scenarios, which run from fully on-campus class-based to a remote delivery to a sort of a hybrid model where it will be some classes taught face-to-face and some taught remotely. And obviously, as the pandemic evolves, as it reveals itself, then we'll be able to communicate closer to the time what our delivery mode is going to be.
Okay, so okay, another question. I have a master's degree and I would like to do another master's from Derby. Am I eligible?
It would, I guess, depend on what the nature was of their first master's degree. So if, for example, a student already had an MBA, then it would be very unlikely that they'll be eligible to study a second MBA. So we would be looking for whatever postgraduate study they wanted to do would have to be quite distinctive and different from their previous master's program. So again, probably best if the applicant was interested in, let's say, an MBA, that they would email me in the first instance, and then I'll be able to provide greater guidance on the basis of what they've currently studied.
Thank you, David. I think this is it from questions.
Okay.
Unless you have anything else to add, we can slowly finish the session.
Okay, so that probably little more for me to add, but simply, if I can send out a message to everybody, which is to stay well and stay safe, obviously in these very difficult and challenging times that we're in. I would state that I think that the nature of work is likely to change very dramatically from what has previously been the case, and therefore the importance of the furtherance of education and postgraduate study has probably never been starker than it currently is. So I welcome, obviously, all of the people that have listened in today, and I wish them well in their future ambitions and studies, to look seriously, of course, at all of the institutions and the various courses that they're offering. And if they have any further questions or queries, please get in contact with myself or my colleagues or our in-country representatives. We're only there to help. And in the meantime, and most importantly, keep well and keep safe, everybody.
Thank you, David, and thank you for this session with SA UK today.
No, it's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me today.